So the main feature is India Helmer, and I don't want to steal all the details of her introduction. Let me turn it over to the best DJ around, Pierre Bay.
I have a question.
Sure.
You know how you want us to sign into something? The link you sent?
If you can go into Handshake, and you can even, if you just, in the search bar, if you were to type women's soccer career meetup, it should pop up. And if you'll just hit, you should be able to just register.
Okay.
Or maybe you see something attendee. I'm looking at my career services account.
Okay, thank you.
Do you see it?
No, but I will look for it.
Okay. I will look at it from my student account and see what how I need to explain that better. And we'll circle back to that. Either we'll take a commercial maybe during the middle or at the very end. How about that? Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Pierre, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Deanne. So, Deanne, thank you so much for the time tonight and for putting all this together. I'm Pierre Breaks, the Director of Student Athlete Development, but Deanne Smith is someone that you all definitely need to know. She's like the Mia Hamm of career development. So if you ever need anything, make sure you go down to the JET building or just send her an email or something like that, and she'll be able to get you going. But thank you all again for coming out tonight. I know I seen you all last week for the inclusive student athlete community. That last meeting of that is tomorrow night too at 6:30. Just a shameless plug. But tonight we are just honored, man, and pleased to be joined by someone who was in the same position that you find yourselves in right now, man. And India Helmer did a great job for us back during her time here on the mountain, and now she's making major moves with TTI, who is an outstanding company who's always looking to hire the best and the brightest, and I'm sure they're probably looking for something right now. So make sure you use her as a resource, as a way to build your professional network. And she's going to talk a little bit about navigating, the professional world and what is now, the world of COVID-19 with the digital platforms and all that sort of thing. So I won't take too much more time. I'll hand it over to India, but just say thank you again for everyone for coming out. And India, thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
I love coming back and talking and presenting to you all, especially the student athletes. Like Pierre said, once upon a time I was in your shoes. I played soccer at App for 2 years back. I graduated in 2017, had back surgery, and then I was the soccer team's babysitter. So if you guys are familiar with the Strickland children, they were a lot younger when I was in school. And so every time you guys were on the road and Jimmy was on the road, I babysat their kids a lot. So I'm sure Sarah will tell you that. She was actually just texting me, but so I have been in your shoes. Today is kind of a time for me to kind of give you some tips and tricks of how to navigate through this virtual world. I was, like I said, in your shoes, and I kind of thought that, I only eat, sleep, breathe soccer, as all of you do right now. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there are little things that you all can do to kind of show yourself and who you are a little bit more to kind of grow your professional network, which I think any of my best friends that were on the soccer team, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jane Klein. She was a center forward for App for 4 years. She's one of my best friends, and she's doing really well too. So not only can you eat, sleep, breathe soccer, but there's little things that you can do to help grow and get you ready for that next step, whether that's right after school or whether you go play professionally and then have to get a job. All those things are important. So I'm going to go into a little bit more about what TTI is at the end. I'm going to kind of do this in reverse, simply because I'm conscious of you all's time, and I know that The Bachelor is on tonight. So I want to make sure that we get through with all this with plenty of time for you guys to enjoy that, if that's what you do tonight. So first and foremost, kind of with the career fair right around the corner, or Walker Spring Connect right around the corner, I want to kind of go into some things of what can you do to virtually prepare for a virtual career fair. So I'm sure all of you have heard about LinkedIn. I don't know if all of you have LinkedIn right now. It doesn't matter what age you are. I highly, highly recommend whenever you have a little bit of time to create a LinkedIn profile. a couple things that I wanted to point out here is the about section. As you can read my really corny, really cheesy about section, that is something that I think is so important when looking at LinkedIn. I'll go into more about what I do for TTI now and kind of my path with TTI later. This is the main focus. It's not about me. It's about what you guys can take away from this, like how to prepare and navigate through a virtual world professionally. So you guys can always look me up on LinkedIn. You can copy and paste and make a few edits to your about section. But the about section is got to be quick. It's got to be short, brief, and kind of call out who you are. I know all of you are a team player, so put in there that you're a team player. So another thing that's really big on LinkedIn right now in a virtual world is the messaging feature. So as you can see, the first example is from me to Daniel. I couldn't really tell you who Daniel was other than his LinkedIn profile kind of sparked my interest. So that's an example of a message that I sent him. Looks kind of spammy, doesn't it? If you got that on LinkedIn, would you respond? A lot of people before this virtual world would not. The second message that you see there is a message that I got from a company. I did respond. I reached out because in this virtual world, you never know what kind of opportunities and how different recruiters and different companies are looking for candidates. So this candidate, he was a senior, I believe, looking for an opportunity. And so I sent him that short message and he ultimately got back to me. He didn't end up turning out to be a good fit for TTI, but still we engaged in that conversation and we grew our network and his network. So those are two examples of messages that a lot of employers nowadays are using that message. And I will tell you, I'll be the first to admit, when I saw a message like that come into my LinkedIn inbox, I was like, this is spam. They're just trying to get me into some pyramid scheme. And that's not the case right now in this virtual world. So this is one thing that I wanted to show you all is something that a lot of employers are using in this virtual world. The second that Dan spoke about at the beginning is Handshake. Some of you may know who this is. I did take her name off, but I left her picture because as you can see on not only my LinkedIn, but also this young lady's Handshake profile, they have a picture of themselves. So mine was my professional headshot from TTI that was actually taken at App State's career fair a couple of years ago. This, she's out in front of a brick building, has a business casual top on. Having a picture really just you get to put a name to a face right away on Handshake or LinkedIn. The other thing that I really like on Handshake is this top part that I kind of snipped from Handshake. And if you guys have more questions about Handshake, I can open up Handshake and we can kind of go through it together. But this is something that you have the opportunity on Handshake to add the different clubs and organizations and groups that you are part of on campus. Being a student athlete, TTI in particular, filters to student athletes. So when you're a student athlete and you have that on your Handshake profile, it's imperative that you put it on there. Same thing for the organizations and extracurriculars. If you hold a job on campus, whether you work for UREC or you volunteer in the coffee shop or the library, all of that goes a lot further than you all think. You may think that just because you all volunteer at, I don't know if you guys still do it. Probably not. But when I was on the soccer team, we used to go read to the children at Hardin Park Hardin Park Elementary School. So that would go on there. All of those things get to tell a story of who you are. So as you can see, she has everything listed there. Why do you all think that GPA is important or not important to include on your resume, Handshake profile, not necessarily LinkedIn? Somebody speak up and tell me one reason why you would want to put your GPA on there.
Shows you can handle soccer and school at the same time. Absolutely.
That is huge. That shows that you've got phenomenal time management skills. You all have a very, very high GPA as a team. I know what you have to have, like the GPA that you have to hold to remain in good standing. So I know all of you should be proud of your GPA. So why not show that off? Brag a little bit more. Absolutely. So another example is in the bottom corner, you can see a message from me. I sent that message, not to this young lady, to another student on App State's campus. Again, looks like a little bit of a spammy message, but this is the way that recruiters are trying to engage with students to get them involved in our internship programs and our full-time opportunities. Are there any questions up to this point? Perfect. So I'm going to kind of kick it into four-wheel drive, and we're going to go through this a little bit faster. Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing anything in the chat. There is time for questions, so please make sure if you have any questions, don't hesitate to interrupt me, or you can wait till the end. So going into the career fair, Spring Walker Connect is next Friday, the March 5th. So first and foremost, you have to register. Dan mentioned that if you don't have a handshake profile, go ahead and create one. It doesn't take that long, and it's a great way for you to start to build your brand. Update your profile. Check out the employers that are attending. Guys, there are going to be a lot of companies that come to show up to these events. Even more so now that it's virtual, because it's a lot easier because nobody has to travel up to Boone. So check out those employers that are coming, and then sign up for those time slots. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the group versus the one-on-one sessions. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that, because that's something that Deanne, Pierre can definitely kind of guide you and help you before the career fair on figuring out what's best for you. But I want to just make note that register for these events and then do your company research. Nothing screams more than you are over prepared when you know one or two little things about the company. Even if you want to come, because I will be at the career fair next Friday, even if you want to come talk to me, as long as you know that I spoke to this women's soccer team on last Monday night, that shows that you're invested in the company that you're talking to. So then it gets to the day of. You guys are going to giggle at some of these things that may seem a little bit more obvious than others, but be in a quiet location. I'm going to show you guys a video here in a few minutes of an example of what not to do. Have a neutral backdrop. As you guys can see, my backdrop's kind of neutral. It's sometimes a little bit harder to get into a neutral backdrop. It's not something that's required, but it's when you reduce the amount of distractions, it gets all the attention on you rather than what's in the background or what's going on in the background. The attire. This is something that a lot of people in the virtual world have kind of become a little bit more lackadaisical on. Girls, you can never get your first impression back. So why not dress to the nines, dress to impress with that first interaction? I am guilty. I have leggings on the bottom half right now. You guys would never know it because you don't need to see it. But if you have, a business shirt on and something that looks presentable on top, no one will ever know what's on the bottom. Business on the top, party on the bottom. So you could have your soccer sweats and your ice packs from practice on the bottom, just dress to impress on the top. Prepare your resume to be easily shareable. This is something that a lot of companies are navigating through, especially us being one of them, is that when we get to the career fair, we don't have your resume necessarily. So Handshake's a great opportunity to upload your resume. Because you guys use Handshake, it's very easy for us to get your resume from, but have it on your desktop in a place that's easily accessible in a PDF form. And then your elevator pitch. When you're going to these virtual career fairs, you want to prepare like it's in person, because like I said, you can never get your first impression back, and you want to sell yourself to these companies, even though it's through a screen. And yes, it can be a little awkward. I get it. I've been there, done that. But at the same time, if you have your elevator pitch prepared of what are your strengths, and we're going to go through kind of what you include in an elevator pitch, it's going to make you feel a lot more comfortable come the day of the virtual career fair. Here are a couple do's and don'ts. I know all of you can read. I know that we have a great career services center that can help you with your resume if you have questions on it. If you were anything like me, you guys have maybe held one job over the summer, in high school, maybe. You might have a job on campus right now, but really, what is your resume? Soccer, big term, big lettering, right? That's okay. As long as you can sell yourself, you playing Division I soccer goes a lot further than you all expect. So just making sure that you have a resume to be able to speak to the experiences you already have. Does that make sense? We good up until this point? So what is in your elevator pitch? Remember, it's about 30 seconds or less. You introduce yourself. Who are you? What's your name? What grade are you? That's important. What's your major? When are you planning on graduating? All of those things are important. And then why you? You're a team player. You're aggressive in a sense. You love a good competition, because I know all of you will never lose. You hate losing. If you like losing, you're a weirdo because you play Division I soccer. But why you? And the call to action, you want to leave a lasting legacy on who you are when you're going to these career fairs and you're talking to employers. So kind of key takeaways when it comes to a virtual career fair is treat it like it's in person, leave a lasting impression. I will never get to meet Sarah again or Jordan again, potentially. So leave that legacy of who you are and make it a conversation. Ask them questions, because in this virtual world, it's a lot less, it's harder to get who you really are out over a screen. So make it a conversation. Don't wait for them to ask. Do you have any questions? Go ahead and ask those questions and use your resources, guys. I can't stress to you enough, going into a virtual career fair, knowing who you're talking to or what you're talking about and having those questions prepared can go a long way. And then follow up, even more so now than ever. When it's in person, it's a little different. You shake their hand, you get to talk to them, you get to dress up, and the employer gets to dress up. But in this virtual world, there are no socials where you can go out to dinner and meet people and have dinner with people. So follow up with a simple email goes a long way. When I go to campuses and I get a thank you email after an interview, or it was really nice meeting, thank you for coming in and speaking to our class. I'm not saying do it, but those go a long way. It shows that you were invested and you didn't just show up just to check a box. Then going into the interviews, there's going to be a lot of the same thing, because the goal of a career fair is to get yourself signed up for interviews. So going into it, even a career fair, test the technology. Make sure that your interviewer has the most up-to-date resume, or the PDF version of the resume. Obviously, I've said this a couple of times, have questions ready for the end and plan to join about 5 minutes early at the minimum. You don't want to be the one that's late. If you have technical difficulties, it's a lot better for you to reach out to the person interviewing you, say, hey, something's not working on my end, than potentially be late. Dress to impress. I've said that once. Whether you dress, I went into an interview a couple months ago, and for the promotion I actually just received with TTI, and I went ahead and I dressed up in my suit head to toe, because that made me feel like it was real life and I was actually going to that interview. Even though I just sat at my desk and did it virtually, it made it feel more professional, more like it was real life and in person. Limit distractions. Guys, believe it or not, if your phone's sitting on the desk and it starts vibrating, if you have AirPods in particular, you can hear it. When it's next to the speaker on your computer, you can hear it. So eliminating those distractions for the 30-minute, 45-hour interview that you have is important. Here's the video. This is hilarious. If you guys have not seen this video, this is a good one. So somebody let me know if you can't hear it. This is what not to do.
Scandals happen all the time. The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it for
you
the
guys hear
wider
it?
region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. Pardon me. My apologies.
What's this going to mean for the region?
My apologies. South Korea's policy choices on North Korea have been severely limited in the last 6 months to a year.
Now, how awkward is that? That is why it is important to make sure that you limit the distractions. Because did you guys hear anything that he said, or were you guys just focused on the kids the whole time? You're probably focused on the kids the whole time. Pierre was laughing a lot. So it's embarrassing. Okay, so make sure that you're reducing those distractions. Body language is another big thing. If you're sitting there slumped in your chair, if I was sitting like this and I was just talking to you guys, do I look like I'm engaged at all? No, I'm pretty comfortable. but I'm not engaged at all. So make sure that you are up, that you're engaging. I'm not telling you that you have to be talking like this the whole time, but just watch your body language. Body language is a big part of navigating through this virtual world. And finally, be yourself. There aren't that many people that say this, but during interviews, during the virtual career fair, be yourself. It is a little awkward. I will be the first person to admit it, but if you're just yourself and you speak confidently to your experiences and what you have to bring to a company or the soccer team or class, it goes a long way. Here's just kind of a summary of the 5 keys to success for virtual interviews, virtual career fair, kind of putting your best foot forward and selling yourself. Are there any questions up to this point? Perfect. I've got a few minutes left. I'm going to race through the who we are. Who is this crazy lady that's been talking to us for the last 25 minutes? Besides that, she played soccer for 2 years at App. So I work for a company called TTI. There are many of you that have probably never heard of TTI, but I'm sure that you guys recognize one of these brands. Does everybody recognize at least one of these brands before? Perfect. Well, TTI is probably one of the largest companies that you've never heard of. We own major power tool brands, outdoor power equipment, and different floor care brands. We are exclusively sold in Home Depot and in Walmart. So our brand heart is our Walmart brand. Everything else is sold in either Target or Home Depot. We are not sold in Lowe's. So we currently have 2 opportunities for you seniors. We are hiring for event marketing specialist role. These, you guys can all read. These are some of the things that you do day to day as an event marketing specialist. And we're also hiring for a summer internship program. So I know the number one thing that comes to all of your minds is I can't do an internship because I have to be back for preseason. Well, TTI is one of those companies that will work with you 100% to ensure that you get a great internship for class credit too. If that's something we could definitely discuss that. But TTI is one of those companies that would work with you and work around your soccer schedule and that preseason. Because I know once you have to be back for preseason, your internship has to be done, we understand that 100%. The summer internship program is a 10-week program. It can be a little bit shorter, like I just mentioned, to get back for preseason. It's very sales based, very marketing based, some management based. You really do get to manage a business. It is paid, and it is nationwide. We recommend that you do it someplace that you have housing for the summer, because we don't provide housing for the summer. But that's the same with the event marketing specialist role, though we have opportunities available nationwide. So the summer internship program is a great way to maybe get a little class credit. I was one that when I was recruited by TTI, actually from App State's career fair, I was like, I was used to being on my feet all the time, used to being pretty active. I didn't want to sit at the desk for every day. TTI was a great way. I was on my feet walking like 20,000 steps a day in the event marketing specialist role, walking around different Home Depots every day. Talking and working with customers, developing relationships with higher ups in Home Depot. A lot of you are probably over there sitting there being like, oh boy, Home Depot. Guys, Home Depot, the people that run Home Depot are just like you and I. So you get to meet and talk to all different types of people in Home Depot, which is pretty special. But it's a phenomenal place to work. They've got their values and their mission align. They align with mine, at least. And our company wouldn't be as big as it is if they didn't align with a lot of the way that the people at our company think. And then here's kind of a quick synopsis of what the trajectory is. So I started with TTI. I graduated in 2017 and then went back and got my MBA from App State. So I graduated again in December 2018. And so I actually started as a field sales and marketing representative. And then I was a territory manager in that management track. And then now I am over here as in the sales office. I just got promoted, actually not just anymore, but it was right after Thanksgiving. So I'm actually currently located in Atlanta, Georgia, in our sales office. If you know anything about Home Depot, Home Depot's headquarters are down here. So I work with the top dogs of Home Depot. I'm still on the Home Depot side, working with the top dogs of Home Depot and the top dogs of the brand Milwaukee. So I used to work for TTI. I now work for the actual brand Milwaukee on the Milwaukee side. So I eat, breathe, sleep red. But I'm over here. I fall under the national account managers. So that's kind of the trajectory. There's a role for everybody. If we could put all the different opportunities and promotions on here, it would be a little bit insane. But to give you kind of a perspective of how quickly you can move up, I was a sales and marketing representative I started February 4th, 2019, and I got promoted to territory manager December 2020. Started February 2019. I don't know. I was promoted in 10 months. Let's just put it that way. And then I received another promotion a little bit less than a year later. So that doesn't make sense. February 2019, I started as a field sales and marketing rep. December 2019, I was promoted to territory manager. And November 2020, I was promoted to my current role right now. So here's a cute little diagram of some people that have went to App State. This is a very, very outdated, but these are people that you can see have held lots and lots of different roles. There's myself over on the far right. There's lots of people that have held different roles in the company over a very short period of time. And finally, the most important part maybe is, if you like what you see and you want more information, I will give you my contact information as well. But Brad Leggett is the campus lead on App State's campus. So there is his contact information. Shoot him an email, shoot him a text. He doesn't care. If you want to hear more information, or, this sounds like something you could be interested in. It's never too early to start networking and growing your network. Brad is somebody that's on campus every single semester for at least a week at a time. Dan, I saw the red. She did the wardrobe change, everybody. And then I will be on campus, or not on campus, I'll be on virtual at the Walker Spring Connect on Friday, March 5th from 9 to 11. So please come and talk to me. I'd love to tell you kind of the more of the nitty gritty about TTI. But today, like I said at the beginning, wasn't about me or what TTI is. It's really about kind of teaching you all maybe just one thing. That's all we need of how to best navigate through this virtual world, because I know it's pretty different and pretty challenging. What kind of questions do you all have? Give me at least one, and then I'll let you all free.
I got one.
Okay. How are you, Haley?
Hi.
What position do you play?
Right forward. Sometimes.
And what year are you?
Sophomore.
Very cool.
I was just gonna ask about the internship that you were talking about, because I'm kind of looking to find one for this summer, and I'm in the business field. So, is your internship, is it like virtual or online, or is it like you actually go to a physical place every day in the summer?
Great question. It is actually in person. So that may surprise a lot of you. We did it actually last summer in person, and it ended up being phenomenal. So it is in person, and we do have to wear face masks and the proper PPE, but you would be paired with a mentor in the area that you live, and they would be you guys would create your own plan every week of what you would be doing, the tasks that you would have to accomplish each week. So I will tell you that your mentors are going to be a lot of recent college grads. So like the team that I managed when I was a territory manager, there were a good handful of people that had graduated in 2018, 2019, or 2020. So you would be working with people similar age, similar interests to do that. But that is a great question. I'd love to give you more details about it, about what the internship kind of entails on a day-to-day, but you would be managing a territory of Home Depots with your mentor. So your mentor is a field sales and marketing rep, and they'd be in the stores managing their territory every day and every week kind of looks different because of the different tasks and objectives that you have. But you would be paired with a mentor that's a current field sales and marketing rep.
Okay, so if I live in Raleigh, y'all got a place in Raleigh?
Of course we do. I started with TTI in Raleigh.
Okay.
So we have two internship opportunities there.
Okay.
If you do me a favor and if you send, let me put my email address in the chat. If you go ahead and send me your resume to my email. Oh, that's not how you spell my name. That would be awesome. And then we can talk a little bit more about it offline.
Okay. Thank you.
You guys know how to talk about distractions? I'm sure you can hear my phone going off.
Ailey, if you need help with your resume, just let me know. And then Jennifer Perry, who's our academics liaison in the Career Development Center, she has virtual office hours every Tuesday from 11 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. So just let me know. We'll get you hooked up. Make sure it's right and tight for you.
Okay.
And you got your business team too, your business career services team available to you as well. I wanted to point out a couple of things. One of the reasons why I've always enjoyed working with TTI among many, many great employers. One is I really have always appreciated how you don't have to just follow this upward mobility within the organization. If you notice that chart, you can move kind of side to side. That's very unique in terms of their organization. And they really do hire all majors. I mean, it is about more, the fit for the role and the work in the company. So I remember seeing a variety of majors when I sent the invitations to the event. And so many, like TTI, there are lots of employers who hire all majors. They might sound sales, leadership development, management training, but it's really about, these other skills that you bring, and then they offer you all the training and development that you really need to be successful. But along that theme, I thought, India, it might be neat for you to say, maybe just to share what you thought sales was and what sales is in terms of this role, because I think that it is a really intimidating word, and I think it's a misunderstood profession.
Absolutely. Now, there are definitely those sales opportunities that the way you make your money is by selling. However, with TTI, we are salary based, so there's no commission, which is really nice because at the end of the day, you could really sell your product to a customer, and at the end of the day, they could not buy it. And at the end of the day, you'll go home with the same amount of money in your paycheck. But when it comes to TTI, sales for us is just helping the customer find the best solution for them. So for example, let's say, I'm going to use a really cheesy example, but it's a great way to conceptualize it. So let's say you and your family are about to build a tree house in the backyard. Well, you're obviously going to need some kind of tools to put together that treehouse, right? So you go into Home Depot, you and your family, and all of a sudden you run into the TTI rep or a Home Depot associate. Their job is to help find the best solution for you with saving you money and providing the tools that's going to help you finish your product and ultimately be successful. So we like to help our customers by doing exactly that. So you do get the people that come in that are looking to buy a tree house, or with COVID, a lot of people are redoing everything in their house. So they need a sander, or they need a drill to do their house, or they just bought a beach house and they need the lawn equipment to be able to maintain their lawn out at the beach. So all of those things are products that TTI sells. On the contrary to that, the Milwaukee brand is our highest end user brand, which the people that do construction for a living and are using the tools day in and day out, those are the types of customers that you would need to sell the brand Milwaukee. So I will tell you, I did not have any knowledge of power tools prior to this job. And TTI puts you through the necessary training for you to learn everything. Actually, at the second week of training, you get to build a corner of a house with the plumbing, and we don't have running water, but you essentially could if we just hooked it up to running water. But you get to do everything from the ground up: plumbing, electrical, the roof. and then you take it all back down. So you really get to use the tools as your users do, whether they're a homeowner redoing their house or they're a general contractor using it every day. So it's pretty unique. It's a pretty cool training program that we have, but that's how I learned everything. And I knew nothing prior. When I mean nothing, I mean nothing. So, and so now I continue in sales, and I'm working directly with Home Depot to essentially buy new product, but we already have that lasting relationship with them. So they hardly say no because I do my research prior to approaching the VPs of Home Depot. Does that make sense?
I think that's helpful. And, you know, there's
Absolutely.
sides about it, you know, if you've never heard the word planogram and merchandising, I mean, that's a lot of what you'll learn about, and you're making sure that the stores are set the way they are supposed to be. And so it's a lot of relationship building, and I'm sure
It's a lot of relationship building. That's
a lot of
when I graduated, I knew I'm a people's person. I can talk to the wall and have a great conversation with it. And I wanted to be able to develop relationships, and I didn't want to be sitting at a desk every day. And that's kind of what I wanted. That was my dream job. And here I am on my feet every day, interacting with customers and colleagues every single day. And we're a very young company, very young. My boss is 36 and he's a VP of Milwaukee. So we're a very young professional company that we have the motto, work hard, play hard.
Yeah, and I think that that brings up a really interesting point, that you knew that about yourself, that you needed to be active, that you weren't going to be looking to be in a corporate environment, which you are in a more corporate position now, right?
Yes.
But that changes, and then you kind of realize, okay, my work requires this, and I can enjoy this a little bit better, and the days still zip by pretty fast.
Absolutely. Our biggest thing is
having that fear as well years ago. But, you know, I think that to our younger students, and even if you're a junior or a senior, you may not know that about yourself yet. And so a big point of this presentation could be, you know, in how you can apply it, is one of the ways that you can learn about career opportunities is by networking and just by talking to people. So if you happen to be an education major and you're in this meeting and you're thinking, well, I'm not really sure what grade level, or, you know, maybe I should investigate that I want to teach middle grades. So, you know, you can use Pierre, you can use me, you can use the College of Education, you can use other soccer alums to find people who are actually teaching. You can go to local schools and, you know, ask people for 15 minutes of their time. You know, to talk about, you know, what teaching in middle school is like, or is it, maybe you're thinking pre-med, you know, you name it. Talking to other people will really help you affirm your interests or identify new priorities that you have. But I realize it can be really intimidating. And so hopefully just by talking with India tonight and hearing her, just walk away from the screen tonight knowing that most people want to be really helpful and they want to be supportive. And, you know, if you get a no, it's okay. If the next phone call or the next email will probably be affirmative. And so if there's one thing I like to add, it's just be confident. India pointed out in the beginning, so many of the unique attributes that you have by virtue of being a collegiate student athlete, and it will carry you far.
Absolutely.
So I would say grab on to that knowledge and get out there and put yourself out there. And the sooner, the better. So India was mentioning, you know, the business event next week. If that's absolutely not, you know, in your area of interest, I mean, we've already been holding like 4 weeks of niche fairs. This week, we have an outdoor jobs fair. And on Friday, there's a health and social services fair. how are you relevant? Are you relevant? If you don't know, just talk to Pierre, me, anybody, and we'll help you. You know, you can look at the event and you can look at the employers and handshake, and you'll be surprised. I think that's another point I'd love to make is this career thing is it's not as A to B as you might think. I major in this, I'm going to do this. And so that's why Pierre and our office and, you know, our center and the business career team, you know, we are very committed to having those conversations to help you continue to discover what you're interested in and what you're not, because that's just, that's as valuable. So you might see one company and you think, oh, this is what they do and I'm not relevant. Well, you know, you might think that because you're a communication major, but guess what? That organization, that nonprofit might need a social media manager, which you could do if you're communication or marketing. So that's why I was just trying to give that 5-minute plug at the beginning. Use these resources, Handshake, LinkedIn, and reach out and learn. And if you do it the right way, if you're just respectful of people's time and, you know, if people make introductions for you, just be efficient and polite, and you'd be surprised, I think, just how far you'll get just by networking and talking with people. And just like India said, I mean, it is never too early. And if you have questions about where to start, I'll help you. Pierre, JP, again, you know, lots of people on campus will help you. I mentioned the 2 fairs that are this week. The Business Connect is next week. And then if you're education, we have the education fair next month. If you're thinking about anything, graduate, professional school, and health sciences, that's also in March. So lots and lots to take advantage of. Pierre, did you want to wrap up? And students, that was a lot of talking on my end. Has that developed any questions for anyone, for India, for me? And then Pierre, you're welcome to wrap us up.
I also put my phone number in there. If you guys have any questions, you guys can always call or text me, as well as my emails in there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I just want to say thank you all for having me, and good luck with your spring season. Stay warm.
Thank you, India. Thank you, Deanne. So one thing I want everybody to do, please take down India's number and email address, add her to your professional network. You don't get this opportunity a lot. You're an alum who, again, you know, played for the same coach as you did, was in the, you know, same buildings you all are in, and now, you know, flourishing at the highest level in the professional world. So please add her to your professional network. Stay in contact with her. Also, just in case someone wasn't able to get into Handshake, please put your first and last name in the chat. You know, if it's 2 people on the screen, please add both names there so we can make sure we have the names for attendance or whatnot. And again, thank you to India, and thank you to Deanne for taking the time. Thank you to you all from the team for taking the time tonight to come in. I know it's a bit late and you had a long day, so I appreciate you taking the time to invest in yourselves. If you want companies to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars, you got to take the time to invest in yourselves. And so you all took another step in that tonight.
Yes,
so,
yes.
If there's no other questions, thank you all again. Y'all be blessed and have a good night.
Enjoy The Bachelor.
Also, one last thing. You know, keep in mind too, you might think, I don't want to bother India because I'm not going to be interested. But remember, India knows all of her teammates, and she knows what they're doing and where they're living. And so that's the way, just talking about that network in that way, Pierre, that really made me visualize that. And I thought I would share that with you. So thanks, everyone.